Good evening. My friends, I want to ask you something and I need you to answer honestly. Not out loud, but to yourself. When was the last time you felt truly certain about your desire? Not hopeful, not excited, not optimistic. Certain, the kind of certainty you feel when you know your name or when you know the sun will rise tomorrow. Most of you cannot remember that feeling because you have been trained to wait for the world to give you permission to feel certain. You have been taught that certainty comes after evidence, after proof, after the thing shows up. And because of this backwards approach, you have been living in a state of perpetual hoping, wishing, and wanting. Tonight, that ends tonight. I am going to show you that certainty is not the reward for manifestation. Certainty is the cause of it. Before we continue, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me one thing you have been waiting to feel certain about. Just name it. One word. One sentence. Let me know you are here with me in this work. And if this teaching resonates with you, if something inside you recognizes the truth of what we are exploring together, subscribe to this channel. Not because I need you to, but because you need to surround yourself with the reminders that will keep you in the state we are building tonight. Now let us go deeper. The world has taught you to approach your desire like a beggar. You ask, you hope, you look for signs, you measure progress, you check your bank account, your phone, your circumstances. And when nothing has changed, you feel discouraged. You tell yourself maybe it is not meant to be. Maybe you are doing something wrong. Maybe the law does not work for you. But here is what you have not understood. The law is always working. It has never stopped. It is working right now. The question is not whether the law works. The question is, what are you assuming? Because whatever you are assuming, that is what the law is confirming. If you are assuming you are waiting, you will continue to wait. If you are assuming it is on its way, it will always be on its way. If you are assuming you do not have it yet, the law says, yes, you do not have it yet. And it keeps that experience alive for you. This is the trap. You think you are affirming your desire, but underneath the affirmations, underneath the vision boards and the scripting, there is a quiet hum of uncertainty. And that uncertainty is your real assumption. That is the seed you are watering. That is what the law is responding to. So what is the solution? You must stop treating your desire like something you are trying to get and start treating it like something you already have. Not in the future. Not after the signs show up. Now, right now, in this moment, you must claim it with the same certainty you claim your own identity. When someone asks your name, you do not pause and wonder. You do not check your wallet for proof. You simply know. That is the state you must bring to your desire. You must know it is yours with such unshakable conviction that the question of whether it will happen never even arises. This is what it means to live in certainty. It is not a feeling you work up. It is a settled knowing you inhabit. And the moment you step into that knowing, everything changes. Let me show you why most people struggle with this. They believe certainty is something they will feel once the desire manifests. They think the progression goes like this. First, I desire. Second, I apply the law. Third, I see results. Fourth, I feel certain. But that is not how the law works. The law operates in reverse. First, you claim certainty. Second, the law responds to that certainty. Third, the results appear. Fourth, you realize you were right all along. Certainty is not the end of the process. It is the beginning. This is the great reversal that most people never grasp. They spend their entire lives waiting to feel certain, not realizing that certainty is the very thing that would bring their desire into form. Now I know what some of you are thinking. How can I feel certain when nothing in my life reflects what I want? How can I be certain I am wealthy when my bank account is empty? How can I be certain I am loved when I am alone? How can I be certain I am healthy when my body is in pain? These are the questions that keep you trapped. Because embedded in each question is the assumption that the outer world is the authority, that the circumstances get to decide what you are allowed to feel. But I am telling you now, the outer world has no authority. None. It is a mirror, a delayed reflection of states you held in the past. If you keep looking to it for permission to feel certain, you will never feel certain. Because by the time the outer world shows you something, you have already moved into a new state. The outer world is always one step behind. This is why you must stop consulting your circumstances. Stop checking for evidence. Stop asking the mirror if you are allowed to believe. The mirror does not create. You create, and you create through the assumptions you hold in consciousness. If you want to see certainty reflected back to you, you must first embody certainty within. You must walk through your day as someone who knows their desire is already fulfilled. Not someone who hopes it will be. Not someone who is trying to make it happen. Someone who knows it is done. When you live from that place, the outer world has no choice but to conform. It must reflect the state you are holding. This is law. This is not negotiable. This is not dependent on your worthiness or your past or your circumstances. It is simply how consciousness operates. Let me tell you about a woman who came to me 2 years ago. She had been trying to manifest a specific relationship for over a year. She had done everything. Affirmation, visualizations, scripting, subliminals. She knew the teachings. She could recite Neville's lectures word for word. But nothing had changed. The person she desired was still distant, still unavailable, and she was exhausted. When she sat down with me, I asked her one question. Do you feel certain this relationship is yours? She paused. Then she said, I want to feel certain. But how can I when he barely speaks to me? And there it was. She was waiting for him to give her certainty. She was waiting for the outer world to confirm her assumption before she would fully claim it. So I told her, you have it backwards. He is not speaking to you because you are not certain. The moment you become certain, his behavior will shift. Not because you are controlling him, but because you will be in a different state. And he will respond to that state. She did not understand at first. She thought I was telling her to pretend, to fake it. But I was not. I was telling her to choose, to decide that the relationship was already hers in consciousness and to live from that truth regardless of what he did or did not do. So she went home and she made a decision. She stopped checking his social media. She stopped analyzing his texts. She stopped looking for signs. Instead, she began living as the woman who was already loved by him. Not in a desperate way, not in a trying way, in a settled way. She would wake up in the morning and feel the quiet satisfaction of being adored. She would go to bed at night and rest in the comfort of being chosen. She did not imagine conversations or force feelings. She simply assumed it was done and let that assumption inform her inner dialogue. 3 weeks later, he reached out, not with breadcrumbs, not with confusion, with clarity, with intention. Within 2 months, they were together. And when she told me, she said, it did not feel like a miracle. It felt inevitable, like it was always going to happen this way. That is what certainty does. It collapses time. It removes resistance. It makes the manifestation feel natural instead of shocking. Here is what I need you to understand. Certainty is not about forcing yourself to believe something that feels untrue. It is about recognizing that the only truth is the one you hold in consciousness. Your circumstances are not true. They are temporary. They are the echo of old beliefs. The only thing that is true is what you assume to be true. And the moment you assume your desire is fulfilled with unshakable certainty, the law begins to rearrange everything to match that assumption. You do not need to know how. You do not need to figure out the path. You do not need to make it happen. You simply need to be certain. And certainty is a choice. It is not something you wait to feel. It is something you claim. Right now, in this moment, you decide that your desire is yours. You decide that it is done. You decide that the outer world is irrelevant. And you hold that decision with quiet, unwavering conviction. Now let me give you something practical, a way to anchor this certainty in your daily life. For the next 7 days, I want you to live as though your desire has already been fulfilled for 6 months. Not as though it just happened yesterday. Not as though it is brand new and exciting. As though it happened 6 months ago and it is now completely natural. Completely ordinary. This is important. When something is new, you are still in the energy of wanting it, celebrating it, being surprised by it. But when something has been yours for 6 months, it is just your life. It is normal. That is the state of certainty. So for 7 days, every time you think about your desire, do not think about it as something you are trying to manifest. Think about it as something that has been part of your reality for half a year. If it is money, do not imagine the moment the money arrives. Imagine the quiet ease of having had financial stability for the past 6 months. If it is a relationship, do not imagine the first kiss. Imagine the deep comfort of having been loved for half a year. If it is health, do not imagine the moment you feel better. Imagine the settled strength of having been well for months. This shift in perspective will change everything. Because when you imagine something as already established, you are not in the energy of lack. You are not in the energy of hope. You are in the energy of certainty. And certainty is the frequency that the law responds to most powerfully. Do this every day for 7 days. When you wake up, when you go to bed, and any time your mind drifts to your desire, do not let yourself slip back into wanting. Do not let yourself slip back into waiting. Remind yourself, this has been mine for 6 months. It is normal now. It is natural. By day 3, you will notice a shift. The desire will stop feeling urgent. It will start feeling settled. By day 7, you will realize you are no longer trying to manifest. You are simply living in the state of the wish fulfilled. And that is when the outer world begins to move. I also want you to notice how differently you move through the world when you hold this certainty. Notice how your posture changes. Notice how your voice changes. Notice how you respond to challenges, to delays, to the opinions of others. When you are certain, you are unshakable. You do not need to defend your vision. You do not need to explain it. You do not need to convince anyone, including yourself. You simply know, and that knowing radiates from you in ways you cannot see but others can feel. People will respond to you differently. Opportunities will appear. Doors will open. Not because you are doing more, but because you are being different. You are being the person who already has what they desire. And the world always reflects who you are being. Now let us talk about the voices that will try to pull you out of this certainty. Because they will come. The first voice is the voice of logic. It will say, be realistic. Look at the facts. Nothing has changed. You are fooling yourself. When that voice speaks, do not argue with it. Do not try to prove it wrong. Simply recognize it for what it is. The voice of the old state, the voice of the past. It has no power unless you give it power. So you smile at it and return to your certainty. The second voice is the voice of fear. It will say, what if it does not work? What if you are wrong? What if you end up disappointed? This voice is trying to protect you from pain, but it is keeping you from power. When you hear it, Thank it for its concern and remind yourself that the law is not a gamble. It is a principle. It works because consciousness is the only reality. There is no what if. There is only what you assume. And you have assumed it is done. The third voice is the voice of impatience. It will say, "Why is it taking so long? When will I see results? How much longer do I have to wait?" This voice is dangerous because it pulls you out of the end and puts you back into the middle. It makes you a person who is waiting instead of a person who already has. When you hear this voice, remind yourself that time is irrelevant. The moment you assumed it was done in consciousness. The outer world is simply catching up. And the more you remain in certainty, the faster that catching up happens. But even if it takes longer than you expect. So what? You are living in the state of the wish fulfilled now. You are experiencing the joy of it now. You are not waiting. You are already there. Here is something most people do not realize. Certainty is contagious. When you hold unwavering certainty about your desire, the people around you begin to reflect that certainty back to you. They stop doubting you. They stop questioning you. They start supporting you, encouraging you, even opening doors for you. This is not because you convinced them. This is because your state shifted and they responded to your state. The world is always responding to who you are being. And when you are being someone who is certain, the world becomes certain with you. So do not worry about the doubters. Do not waste your energy trying to explain or defend your vision. Just be certain. And watch how quickly the doubters either change their tune or remove themselves from your reality entirely. There is one more thing I need to address. Some of you are afraid that if you claim certainty and nothing happens, you will look foolish. You will feel foolish. You are afraid of disappointment. So you hold back. You keep one foot in certainty and one foot in doubt, just in case. But that divided state is exactly what prevents your desire from manifesting. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot be certain and uncertain at the same time. You must choose. And yes, choosing certainty requires courage. It requires you to risk being wrong in the eyes of the world. But let me tell you something. The only way you can be wrong is if you abandon your certainty. If you hold to it, if you remain in the state of the wish fulfilled no matter what. The law must deliver. It has no choice. So the question is not whether you will be disappointed. The question is whether you will persist long enough to see your certainty confirmed. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and your desire has been fulfilled. It is done. It is yours. How do you feel? Not excited, not shocked, not relieved. You feel calm. You feel natural. You feel like this is exactly how it was always supposed to be. That is the feeling of certainty. And here is the secret. You do not have to wait until tomorrow to feel that way. You can feel it right now, because the feeling is not dependent on the outer world. The feeling is a choice. You can choose to feel certain right now. In this moment, regardless of what your circumstances look like. And the moment you make that choice, the moment you step into that feeling and live from it, the manifestation becomes inevitable. So here is what I am asking you to do. Stop waiting for certainty. Stop hoping for certainty. Stop looking for certainty in the mirror of the world. Choose certainty now. Decide that your desire is already yours. Decide that it is done. And then live from that decision every single day. Do not let the old reality convince you otherwise. Do not let the voices of doubt or fear or impatience shake you. Stand firm in your knowing. And watch as the entire world shifts to accommodate the truth you are holding. This is not magic. This is not wishful thinking. This is law. And the law is absolute. There is a reason why certainty is so powerful. It is because certainty is the natural state of the Creator. When you are uncertain, you are living as the created. You are letting the world tell you what is possible. You are letting circumstances define your experience. But when you are certain, you are living as the creator. You are defining your experience. You are deciding what is possible. And the world has no choice but to obey. This is your birthright. This is who you truly are. You are not a victim of reality. You are the author of it. And the moment you step into that authorship with full certainty, everything changes. I want to leave you with this. Your desire is not out there somewhere waiting for you to find it. It is not dependent on luck or timing or the cooperation of other people. Your desire is already yours in consciousness. The moment you desired it, it was given to you. The only question is whether you will claim it with certainty or continue to beg for it with hope. Hope keeps it at a distance. Certainty brings it home. So choose certainty. Not tomorrow. Not when you see a sign. Now. And let that certainty be the ground you stand on. The air you breathe. The truth you live from. The world will catch up. It always does. It always has. It always will. Walk forward knowing. Not hoping. Not wishing. Knowing. Your desire is done. It is yours. It has always been yours. And now, you are simply allowing yourself to experience what was already true in consciousness. This is the path. This is the way. And you are ready for it. Thank you for being here. Until we meet again, live in certainty. The lessons we draw from this teaching are simple but profound. First, certainty is not the result of manifestation. It is the cause. You do not wait for proof to feel certain. You choose certainty first and proof follows. Second, your circumstances have no authority over what you are allowed to assume. They are echoes of the past, not declarations of the future. Third, living in certainty means treating your desire as though it has been fulfilled for months, not as though it is about to happen. This removes urgency and anchors you in the natural state of having. Fourth, the voices of doubt, fear, and impatience will always come, but they have no power unless you give them your attention. You do not fight them. You simply return to your certainty. And finally, certainty is contagious. When you embody it fully, the world around you begins to reflect it back. And what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. This is the law. This is your power. Now go and live it.